So I'm going to treat this more like a martial art from now on. And I think that if the viewers, it's up to you. What, you're you, I'm me. Let's not get cross-mojoed or quantumly entangled in some problematic way. But at least the most beneficial way for me to continue my live streaming, which I feel, and sometimes we feel differently on different days. No 2 days are the same. But if we would drag things out, from the beginning of our existence until the end of the universe, and I don't know, maybe it connects back to the start and all that other stuff. But if we would just look at it, then we would see that it's just like, as a martial artist would enter the octagon. These basic martial arts principles would concern you, and you would allow it to happen naturally. It would be in your best interests to allow yourself to come back to center. Or if you have to face some life-threatening situation, or you have to go and confront an unknown, right? Someone who comes and starts talking to your husband or your wife, and they come, and then you don't really, it's not really clear what's going on here, right? So therefore, it's in your best interests to to breathe in the right way, right? To prepare yourself in the right way. To have the right balance of awareness and being in your body, and being relaxed. Having your natural defenses. Your buoyancy, so that if someone comes at you, you can you have the internal skills to redirect their force, or to use your tenacity to punch them, or apply a martial arts technique. But so there's, hopefully just explaining it like that, it evokes the muscle memory in people, and the situational awareness and the psychology and things. So we know we have to come back to center. We have to be able to ground. Have to be in our emotional baseline. We need our shields up. We need to be aware of what's going on. So that's I mean, that's what you do as in a martial arts training method, right? Whether it's, it doesn't matter whether it's some CQC, close quarters combat, or whether it's the Marines doing some sort of some sort of combative training, or it's the Russian special forces doing their shit, or whoever it is, in a jiu-jitsu training method, you shake hands, and then that once we've shaked hands, it's all on. So that's kind of how we get ourselves in that zone about centering and perceiving. And then we get our training method, right? So this is the same way that this is the same principles apply for me in my Nei Kung. Even though I'm doing a solitary practice here, I can still use these martial arts principles to train my mind, to develop my energy through certain breathing patterns. Hi. So yeah, when we have a martial arts dojo, which this can be a physical, hall, but it's also a frame of mind. It's also an attitude. We have that. Yeah, it's a very serious. Very serious, but it's serious in a way that lets us know that the more relaxed we are and the more grounded in our own comfort that we are, the more effectively we can train this thing that's pretty serious. But having said that, I feel like there are some deeper meditative things that I'm working on, which it requires the dissolving of any angst or anything that might correspond to angst or evoke angst in some way. Or any problem, or any emotion, fear or anxiety, or anything that's gonna yeah, mess up the body mind. So perhaps there are some more internal things that I'm working on that that it doesn't really require that type of it doesn't really require a dojo, perhaps in some way. But that's nice. When I have my centerized and my, you know, my energy is, I'm resting in my comfort, and yeah, my shields are up. I'm, you know, I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm ready to respond. But I'm also immersed in this very deep, comfortable, dynamic thing that's emerging, that I'm allowing to happen, which it's so comfortable that I don't even that, you know, you don't even feel like intellectualizing it. Really, you just want to trust it and let it unfold. And I can do so comfortably because I'm in my own bubble. And it's just like a, you know, you have those old clocks, those wind-up clocks, tick 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 tick, which the springs are gradually unwinding, and, you know, the clock's gonna die at some point, but not really die. You can just wind it back up again, and then it can continue ticking on. So there's some flow back time things in the body mind. That's so awesome. That, yeah, we can hear about, you know, you can watch me YouTube videos and stories of people who, they were looking for answers, or they were looking to try to heal some issue, how to overcome something, or how to find something that they were looking for, how to make some sort of breakthrough, something like that. And then at some point they they just happened to, through because of their own devotion to the training that they were doing, their own commitment to the training that they were doing, or the states of mind they were attempting to embody, the way that they were trying to feel, and how do I allow myself to love, how do I connect with my higher spirit, how do I find some refined level of the human experience, or and then they crossed paths with some master, or maybe they seeked out some master and they found some master. So there's interesting stories, and I guess they're just stories. I haven't met anyone yet like this, but I've heard the stories, and I've seen videos of people that seem to be very, very certain about what they're saying, and it seems like this must be a legitimate, experience they're relating. Real events, real happenings that they're relating. So yeah, apparently there's some of these monks and people in Tibet, and probably likely other places as well, who are a lot older than what you would think they are. They've lived a little bit longer than what you might expect, and they have more vitality and strength, and their appearance is, having more vitality, and in a certain way that you might not necessarily expect. And I don't know to what degree, like 100 years old and looks like 50, or 80 years old and looks like 30, or to what degree, I don't know, or even more extraordinary than that, I'm not too sure. But I suspect there may be some, perhaps a little leaning towards sort of extraordinary cases. And it's funny, sometimes there's stories about these type of people who they have these they're in extraordinary circumstances, and they're just having a little drink and a little smoke of something. Yeah, so they're also smoking a little bit of this and drinking a little bit of that. Probably there's going to be herbs, elixirs, tinctures, maybe other alchemical substances, maybe mercury, I don't know, maybe colloidal gold and colloidal silver and monatomic gold. I'm not too sure what your thing is, but yeah, if it works, it works.